Hi, and welcome back to aboutmoshiach.com. In this video, we're going to be talking about depopulation. Namely, will there be a massive reduction in the world's population at the end of days with the coming of Moshiach, according to the Torah? And this will be part one because it's a large topic, so we need to break it up. So let's have a look at what we've seen so far, especially in connection with the conspiracy theory. We've seen the different aspects of the theory, and these were not nice aspects of the conspiracy claim. They were evil, and we also have seen how these evil aspects actually have a place in the Torah. The Torah, speaking about Mashiach, does refer to these different aspects, so it's a bit of a validation in a sense. And again, that wasn't a pleasant expression of those aspects. However, we've also seen that there's a good expression of all these aspects, how they tend to be good ultimately. So even though it looks and it starts as an evil thing, it actually ends up being good. So we've seen all that in previous videos. And in this video, we're going to be talking about one of the central and scariest or ultimate claim of the theory, and that is depopulation, namely that the global government is conspiring, is planning to massively reduce the population of the world. And that could be for various reasons, whether they want more control, so it's easy to control less people, whether it's because we don't need so many people, etc. Be it as it may, this is a claim that they're planning to do that. And the remaining people, what's going to happen to them, then they're basically the claim is that they're going to become slaves to this government, this global government. So this is the ultimate destiny, if you like, for the population. And I guess in the sense that the theory is that with everybody being slaves and behaving nicely, and so there's no more wars, there's no more issues, everything is sorted out. The slaves get what they need, so they'll be happy. The government will be happy because there's no challenges, and everybody will be living happily ever after. I guess that's the vision. That again, it's a claim. Whether it's true or not, that's a different story. But we're going to look at what the Torah says about this topic, namely population, and also we'll also deal with slavery a little bit as well. So we're going to be looking at what the Torah says about the topic, and it actually is going to be more of a scholarly analysis. So the way it works is it's a build-up from the Torah, then we're going to go in and speak about what the Talmud and the sages say about the topic, and then what the Jewish law ends up deciding how things will go. So we're going to be looking at that in that sense, and that's going to be completing the picture of this topic. So it's important not to take just the first part and say that that's what it is, because there's more to it. There's more context that comes with the later analysis of the topic. So please don't just take the first bit and then go off. And also, we're going to also have some takeaways of what we're actually going to get from it. It's not just like an interesting topic. It's also going to be something that we learn something out of and implement in our daily life. So with that, let's start and see what the Torah says on the topic. The Torah generally has only 3 places where it speaks about the end of days in the 5 books of Moses, and one of them speaks about Mashiach, the person, in the book of Numbers, in the story with Balak and Bilam, 2 Gentiles who were trying to curse the Jewish people, and instead they ended up blessing them. And there were 3 instances as such. And then the 4th one is a prophecy that Bilam, the Gentile prophet, said about the end of days, speaking about humanity as a whole with a few details. So we're going to have a look at that prophecy and see what it says over there. So the English goes, I see it, but not now. I view it, but not near. This is how the prophecy starts. Er'enu, in Hebrew, Er'enu velo ata ashurenu velo karov. So what's going to happen? A star is going to shoot forth from Jacob, and a rod will rise from Israel. And he will strike down the fringes of Moab and do something in Hebrew it's called karkar, all the children of Seth. Right? It says in Hebrew it's umachatz partem Moav v'karkar kol ben Eshed. This is what he's going to do. So he's going to do something for all the children of Seth. So let's have a look and see what the word karkar is. It's not a common word in the Bible. So let's see how the commentators explain this word. Right, so Onkelos, which is the Aramaic translation of the Torah, he renders it as V'yishlot. He's going to rule, control all the children of Seth. The Mashiach will control the whole humanity. This is how he translates it. Rashi, who is the more literal commentary, renders it as Leshon Koreh. And then the Siftei Chachamim, who explains Rashi, explains it as Nokev. Koreh means like Nokev. It's a puncture, so he's going to puncture, whatever that means, the humanity. And then you've got Ibn Ezra and Abarbanel, who understand this word as destroy, and that comes from a prophecy in Isaiah, Mekaker Kir, destroying a wall. So it's the same shoresh, which means hores, hores akir. So that this is how they understand this word. So we have a large spectrum of what this word means, karkar. But that's what's going to happen. So who is it going to happen to? So who is the subject of what's going to happen? So we've seen it's all the children of Seth. So let's see how, again, the commentators explain who it is. So the children of Seth, and Onkelos again says it is B'chol B'nei Enasha, the whole humanity. And Rashi says, Kol ha'umot, all the nations who came from Seth. So that generally means everyone except for the Jewish people. And the Baalei Tosfot make it even clearer that they quote Rashi, and they say, Ve'en Israel bichlal, the Jewish nation is not part of this children of Seth, because in the beginning, Beresha Dekra, in the beginning of the prophecy, he mentioned that who's going to cause all that? Mashiach, who will come from the Jewish nation. So the Jewish nation is not included. So this is the subject of this karkar, of this other distraction or control or puncturing, whatever it is. So that's who it is aimed at, the prophecy. And now let's have a look at a bit more context with this prophecy from another commentator, classic commentator, Yonatan ben Uziel, who also has an Aramaic translation on the Bible, and he translates, which is more lengthy, and he translates this the prophecy as follows: V'yiroken kol benoi deshet. He's going to empty all the children of Seth. Who are the children of Seth? Mesharyate the Gog, those who serve Gog. And what are they going to do? The atidin lemisadra sidre krava b'Israel. They're going to wage a war against the Jewish nation. V'yiplu pigrehon kolhon kodamoi, but all their corpses will fall, will die in front or because of Mashiach, who is the subject of the verse. So we've got a bit of more context here. We're talking about when it's going to happen, which is the war of Gog, and the people, and who is it going to apply to? Those who are with Gog. So not necessarily everyone. Just a bit of more context. People that are following or serve Gog. Now, this war of Gog and Magog is not something that we're going to cover in this video, but it's related to our topic. So this is something that needs to be covered in another topic, but it's going to happen at the same time. So with that, let's have a look and see the prophet Zechariah, who is one of the prophets that speak about this war in great detail. So he, just before he deals with this war, he has a prophecy that says as follows: "V'haya b'chol ha'aretz ne'um Hashem pi shnayim ba yikaretu yigvau v'hashlishit yivater ba." So in English, there will be in all the land the word of God. 2 portions of the population will be cut off and perish, and the third will remain in the land. And then he goes on to say what's going to happen to that third. I will bring that third into the fire, and I will purify it as one purifies silver, and I will refine it as one refines gold. It will call out in my name, and I will answer it. It will say, I will say, it is my people, and it will say, Hashem is my God. So we see here that there is another more detail to what we've seen in the book of Numbers, relating to what's going to happen to humanity. So 2/3 are going to expire, and 1 will remain. Now let's see who is going to be remaining and who is going to be out, which is cut off or expire. So the commentators, we'll start with Metzudat David, or the classic commentators. So he's one of them, and he says that these 2/3 of humanity represent all the Gentiles. So all the Gentile nations will expire, and only the Jews will remain. That's what he says. And even those who remain will be refined and tested, and the wicked will be removed. That's what he says. However, all the other commentators, the classic commentators, say that the 2/3 is the 2/3 of the Gentile nations, which means that 1/3 of them will remain. And that 1/3, Rashi says, will convert. However, all the other commentators are not aligned with that. But everyone says that third, whoever it is, will get tested. And those who are the dross, which means the no good ones, they'll be removed, according to Rashi. And according to Ababanel, they won't be removed, but the bad within them will be removed. So that's how the commentators look at it. And one more commentator, Metzudat Sion, who says that these portions are actually equal portions. So if you're looking at the whole humanity as a whole, you've got 1/3 of the whole humanity remaining, and the 2/3 will be cut off. That's what we're looking at. So just to summarize it, how the commentators look at this prophecy. So we've got everyone agreeing that 2/3 of the Gentiles will be removed, and then 1/3 is going to stay, according to most opinions. Rashi says converting, he'll convert to Judaism, and everybody else says that they won't, but it'll get tested, and the wicked will be removed or will be refined. So this is how that prophecy looks like according to the commentators. Now we're going to go on to the Talmud. The Babylonian Talmud, in the Tractate of Sanhedrin, page 111a, it deals with our prophecy. And the context is that you've got the two sages, Rish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan, and they have a disagreement about a number of verses, where Rish Lakish tends to take a harsh approach, especially towards the Jews, that, like if someone is not perfect, then he gets punished severely. So that's the context of how they analyze a few of the verses, and then they get to our verse. And the way they look at it is they split humanity into its original tri-ancestry, because Noah, who is the father of humanity after the flood, he had 3 sons. So these are the 3/3 that the prophecy is talking about, with 1/3 remaining and the other thirds going. And in that sense, the portions are not necessarily equal, because all these children didn't have exactly the same progeny as everybody else. So that's how they're going to be analyzing it. So let's have a look and see what they say in the Talmud. And they quote a verse from Isaiah, this is the verse from Isaiah. Amar Rish Lakish says, Shlishi, who is that third? Is the third of Shem. Shlishi shel Shem, 1/3 from Shem. So basically, from Shem, you had 1/3, or his third son. From him, that's who's going to survive, and everybody else won't. That's Rish Lakish. Amar le Rabbi Yochanan told him, Lo nicha lemayrayu, de'amart leho hachi. Mayrai, who's the master of those who you're talking about, is not happy with how you're talking about them, because you're not talking very harshly. Ela, so what is the meaning of this prophecy? Afilu shlishi shel Noach. We're talking about the 1/3 of Noah, which is Shem. his whole all his children will survive, and everybody else won't. So that's much better than only 1/3 of Shem. So that is the Talmud. And then the commentaries on this Talmud try to explain what it means. So the first one being Rashi, again, the classic commentary on the Talmud. He has a very lengthy explanation on this piece of Talmud. And he offers two approaches, one from his rabbis that he heard and one from his own. So let's have a look and see what he says. He says that Rish Lakish holds that whoever's going to be remaining is 1/3 of 1/3 of 1/3 of Noah. So basically, if you're looking at the tree of children, so you've got Shem is 1/3. 1/3 of Shem, or the third son of Shem, is Arpachshad, and from him, his third son, or 1/3 from his children will remain, and everybody else will go. This is how this is based on the fact that the verse says shlishit and not shlishi. So it's shlishi means the third part, but shlishit means like a third of a third of a third. So practically that means that all the Gentile nations will go, and possibly many Jews Shema, possibly not necessarily, but it looks like many Jews, Israel mitma'atin beyoter, reducing significantly. And in his second explanation, he says 1/3 of the Jews will remain. So that's according to Rish Lakish, the way Rashi explains it. According to Rabbi Yochanan, we're looking at not such an extreme view, but 1/3 of Noah, which is Shem, or the way the Rashi explains it in the second go, it's 1/3 of Shem, which is Arpachshad. Nevertheless, it's much better than Rabbi Rish Lakish, but still, possibly Jews will go as well, but much less than what Rish Lakish says. Now, there's other commentaries on this piece of Talmud. You've got the Maharsha, the Maharal, the Yad Ramah, and others, but they're basically saying roughly the same thing, that Rish Lakish says 1/3 of Shem, which is Arpachshad, and Rabbi Yochanan holds that it's going to be only Shem. All right, so let's before we summarize what we've seen so far, we've got one more place in the Midrash Rabbah, who comments on a verse in Proverbs, and the verse reads as follows: Yareh et Hashem beni. The King Solomon is making recommendations to people, and he says, "Fear God, my son, v'melech," and also the king. Do not mix with people who are shonim, literally meaning different, alien, strangers. Why? For the disaster will arise suddenly, and who knows the punishment of them both. Right? So that's why you shouldn't be mixing with them. So the Midrash in the book of Bamidbar, Midrash Rabbah in Bamidbar, Parasha 15, says as follows. So he quotes the verse from Proverbs, and he says like this: "Ve'im otan she'omrin shehen shnei elokut." Those who are saying there's two gods or multiple gods in the world, al titarev lahen, don't mix with them. Why? Shesofan le'aved min ha'olam, because ultimately they'll be removed from the world, as it says, and he quotes the verse from Zechariah, "V'haya v'chol ha'aretz yom Hashem pi shnayim ba'ikeret rigva u'v'ashlishiti v'ater ba." Because 2/3 will go, and those 2/3 are those people who say that there's two gods or more than one god. So they will go, and therefore don't mix with them. And who is the third that will remain? Elu Israel, these are the Jewish people, as it says, Be'emahu yeh Israel shlishit ba'aretz, in Isaiah. Another verse says that in that day, the Jewish nation will be 1/3 in the land. So here we see that the Midrash takes, again, the more extreme view, that there's no Gentiles remaining. And he gives a reason, because it's a play of words. Shonim is the same root or the same word as shnayim, which is two or more. So people who are serving multiple gods, don't mix with them. So this is what the Midrash says. And then let's just summarize all the opinions that we've seen so far, because we had a whole spectrum of opinions. So in terms of the more favorable opinion, if you can call it favorable, you've got only 1/3 of the Gentile population remaining and all the Jews remaining. However, the harsher view is that no Gentiles will remain. And even with the Jews, you have 2/3 expiring and only one remaining. So this is how it's looking so far. And I know it's not looking good. So, and that's not the end of the story. So at this point in time, I just want to relate some issues with what we've seen so far, and then we're going to tackle them, hopefully, God willing, in the next video. So the issues is that we know that in the Messianic age, which is what all these prophecies are dealing with, we know that there's a concept of vengeance of the wicked. There's actually quite a number of prophecies that speak about the wrath of God that will be directed to all the wicked people who have been lucky so far to get away with what they got away with, but no longer. So there's a lot of prophecies speak about that, but we never realize that there's so many wicked people that 2/3 or everyone has to go. That seems a bit extreme. Now, besides all that, you've got, if you look at the more extreme view that all the Gentiles will expire or cut off, or that whoever remains of them will convert. In other words, there won't be any Gentiles. That's problematic in itself, because there's quite a number of prophecies, and we're going to look at them later on, God willing, that speak about Gentiles in the Messianic age. And in fact, we'll see that the Gentiles play a central role in the Messianic age. So that's going to be problematic to say that all of them will be cut off. And besides all that, they're always righteous Gentiles that do the right thing. They keep the 7 Noachad laws. So why would you get rid of them as well and have no Gentiles remaining? So that's problematic. So there's much more to that, and we'll have to explore that. So what we're going to do with the aid of heaven is we're going to look next at conversion. How does conversion work from being a Gentile to being a Jew, and specifically in regards to the Messianic age, how if that's gonna be allowed, or how it's gonna play out. And also we still haven't seen what the Jewish law says about this topic, because we've stopped with the Talmud stage, and we haven't seen how it's actually determined in Jewish law. And then the last thing we need to do is also have a look at, when it says expire or cut off, what exactly that means and how it's going to happen. So stay tuned.